You've been told many things. Some you accepted without question. Some you held on to as if they're absolute truth. But were they ever true? Or were they just thoughts, repeated enough times that they became beliefs? Because when you really stop and ask, who said you needed validation? Who decided that approval was the currency of self-worth? And at what point did you agree to these rules, without ever questioning them? But now you see. Now you notice something. And as that awareness begins to take shape in your mind, something fascinating happens, something liberating. You realize you never needed validation to begin with. It was an illusion. And the moment you see through an illusion, it loses all its power. For years, you played by the rules that were never yours. Rules that told you how to feel, how to act, how to shrink yourself to fit into a mould that was never meant for you. You tried to be liked, but at what cost? You sought approval, but it never really satisfied you. Because here's what's strange. The moment you stop needing to be liked, people are drawn to you. The moment you stop chasing love, love finds you. The moment you stop proving yourself, your worth becomes undeniable. And isn't it funny how all the things you thought you had to chase were always meant to come effortlessly? So now a shift begins. A shift that you can feel deep inside. A shift that changes everything. The more you let go, the further you go. You spent so much time controlling, suppressing, pushing emotions away. But has that ever helped? Or has it only exhausted you? Because what happens when you stop fighting yourself? What happens when you stop shutting down and instead start waking up? As you think about that now, you might begin to notice a feeling, a knowing. That something inside you is unlocking. It's always been there. It was just waiting for you to see it. And the moment you allow it, everything clicks. People don't remember what you say. They remember your energy. They remember how you make them feel. And the more you radiate confidence, not the kind that seeks approval, but the kind that needs nothing from anyone, then the more influential, more magnetic, more alive you become. Because isn't it interesting? The strongest people, they aren't the ones who try to impress, but the ones who simply are. The ones who own their truth, who embrace their emotions, who express fully without fear. And you can feel that happening within you now, can't you? Because this is your truth. And the moment you embrace it, nothing will ever be the same again. And now a question lingers in your mind. A question that opens doors you never even knew existed. What happens when you stop looking for something and instead realize you already had it? What becomes possible when you stop searching and start being? As you take this in now, as you feel that realization settle deep within you, I wonder what new possibilities will begin to unfold for you, because now you know. And when you change, everything changes. Because it's so interesting how beliefs take hold, how ideas once planted can grow into realities that shape everything. But just because you believe something once, does that make it true? Because when you think about it, how do you know that what you once believed was ever real? What if it was just a misunderstanding? A story you told yourself over and over until you forgot it was just a story. As you hear these words now, you might begin to notice something shifting inside. A curiosity, a realization that maybe, just maybe, there's more to you than you ever allowed yourself to see. Once upon a time, you thought you needed validation, approval, praise, recognition. But where does that need come from? And more importantly, what happens when you stop needing it? Because here's something fascinating. The more you chase validation, the more it slips away. Like a shadow that moves when you reach for it. But when you stop chasing, it comes to you. Isn't that funny? The moment you stop seeking approval, you become magnetic. The moment you stop proving yourself, your worth becomes undeniable. Because deep down, you always knew. You never needed anyone's permission to be powerful. So now, you can feel it settling in. The truth. The undeniable, unshakable truth. You don't need validation. You're already more than enough. This is liberating to know. There was a time when you tried to control everything. A time when you believed emotions were dangerous. The vulnerability meant weakness. If you didn't keep up the act, you'd be exposed. But who told you that? And were they right? Because look what that belief has done. The suppression, the exhaustion, the endless proving, the endless chasing, the endless running from yourself. Did you think about that now? You begin to see that it was never about being strong. It was never about control. It was about fear. But fear is just a feeling, and feelings come and go. So what happens when you stop running? What happens when you turn around and face it? Did you imagine that now? You might begin to feel something shifting, something loosening, something release. Because isn't it strange? The less you try, the more natural it becomes. The less you force, the more effortless things fall into place. Because power isn't about proving. Power isn't about forcing. Power is about holding your ground, owning your space, knowing deep in your bones that you define reality. The more you commit to your version of reality, the more others begin to accept it, because certainty is contagious. So now you might begin to wonder, what happens when you stop doubting? What happens when you fully embody who you are, without hesitation, without apology, without restraint? What happens when you stop proving and start being? And as you consider that now, you might begin to notice a feeling, a shift, a realization that this is the moment everything changes. And now a question lingers in your mind, a question that opens doors you never knew existed. What if you'd been powerful all along? What if everything you've been looking for has been inside you the entire time? Did you feel that truth sinking in, locking into place? You might find yourself smiling because now you know. And when you know, everything changes.